Hey there, I'm Jen, founder of Polistic Pole Yoga, 52 poses all on the ground. And today we're going to be discussing yoga poles and which yoga pole you should choose so that you can practice Polistic Yoga right at home with us. So there's a lot of different yoga poles on the market, or you might commonly know it as a stripper pole, a fitness pole, or a dance pole. Yes, they are the same kind of pole, and I love saying that they're a multi-dimensional tool and that you can use the one pole for all the different modalities of pole fitness. So Polistic Pole Yoga is different because all of our poses are on the ground rather than coming up off the ground. So it's really important that you have a safe and stable pole so that if you do choose to go up off the ground, you're not going to be falling or slipping. Now there's a lot of different poles on the market. Maybe you've gone to the mall to a place like Spencer's and you've seen some cheaper poles. I do not suggest buying a pole from a mall. I have heard some horrible stories and I've seen poles bend, and I'm not saying the one from Spencer's I've seen bend, but I have seen some straight bend in half. They get really rusty. They're not going to be stable and they're going to fall out of the ceiling very easily. Now most of the poles on the market are tension poles. So think of a shower curtain rod, how you kind of tension it into place. So most of the poles, they're not going to leave any marks in your floor or your ceiling to install them, which in my opinion makes this the best fitness tool because you don't have to have one, a lot of space, and two, it leaves no damage to your space. Three, they're very easy to install. So a less expensive yoga pole is going to cost about $100, $120, and a more expensive pole is going to cost about $550 with all of the accessories. Now there are lots of different brands on the market, so I'm going to go ahead and start out with the least expensive pole that we recommend at Polistic Pole Yoga, and that is the Tech pole. That is on Amazon, and sometimes you can even get a coupon on there. Sometimes they offer coupons, and you can get it for as little as $80. And I'm going to leave a link for all of these poles down in the description so that you can go choose the best pole that works for your budget and for your space. Now the Amazon pole, the Tech pole, because there's a lot of different poles on Amazon, but again, some of them are not high quality. So we've tested the Tech. Tons of my students have them, and several people that do pole dance and pole fitness have them. So I can stand by this pole as being a great, safe pole for you to get into your space. Now the thing to think about the Amazon pole is you're going to have ceilings that are exactly 9 foot. It doesn't go down very much further and it doesn't raise up very much further. You might have a few inches in there that'll come up and down, but your ceiling needs to be right around 9 foot and it needs to be flat. Now I've helped people create drop down ceilings for their pole and that has worked. So if you need to do something like that, then you can create a drop down ceiling. You would just want to get a board or a piece of plywood that's big enough for that disc at the top. The big disc goes to the top. The small disc goes at the bottom. So you'll want to make sure that you have a couple inches around that disc to securely place your pole on the ceiling. One of the negatives about the Amazon pole is that it does not come with a carry bag and it does not work with angle mounts. So that's something to keep in mind. So when it comes to a higher quality pole, there's two companies on the market right now that sell in the United States, and that's going to be X-Pole and Lupit. Now I get a lot of questions about which one's better, X-Pole or Lupit. I have sold both of them over the last decade and a half, and I am going to tell you right now that the Lupit pole is far superior than the X-Pole, and it only costs just a few dollars more. I'm not going to get into all of the reasons why I'm not a fan of the X-Pole because I know that there's a lot of people out there using X-Poles, and if that works for you, then that's amazing. But I do suggest if you're just looking to buy a pole, then to start off going with the Lupit pole. Now, when I first started selling poles back in 2009, there was a company called Platinum Stage Pole. I love those poles. That was my first pole that I purchased in 2004 for home. And X-Pole bought the division of their poles that are for at-home use. X-Pole took the original Platinum Stage technology off the market and they replaced it with their technology where you screw in the poles. They're called X joints. And in those X joints, there's 3 little screws that hold it together, which this is one of the reasons that I do not like the X-Pole. I think it's harder to put together. If you just go to the X-Pole installation video that they have, it's over 20 minutes. The Lupit installation video is under 5 minutes. So one installation is so much easier with a Lupit. I had one of my students actually get injured putting her X-Pole together. It hurt her finger and she ended up bleeding, and it was very, very challenging for many of my students to install the X-Pole. Now I think once you do it a few times then it's going to get easier for you, but I think that the Lupit pole is easy from the get-go. I travel so much with my Lupit pole. Ease in installation is very, very important for me. And also I'll briefly touch on the customer service. The customer service at Lupit pole is superior. The customer service at X-Pole is not superior. So I'm not going to go too much further into that. I don't want to really get into a pissing match of which company is better, but I do think that the lupit pole is better. It took me a lot of time and energy to get my website changed to remove all of the X poles, because when I started reselling poles in 2018, I went with X Pole since they purchased Platinum Stage, and after about a year and a half, I learned that that company was not up to par with the Polistic Yoga standards, and so that's why we now go with exclusively with the lupit pole. There is another pole that's an in-between, and that's a Little Meese. That's a United States company, and I've had some of my polers pull on that pole, and that is a safe pole. They offer some different colors like pink and black and some other colors, and so I'll drop the link for that pole down below. And again, it doesn't have all the bells and whistles that the lupit pole has, but it is mid-range price for about $350. Now, another reason that I really love the lupit pole, well, there's many reasons that I love it. They have a carry bag. If you need an angle mount because you have an angle mount ceiling, then there's an angle mount that you can get with that. If you have a ceiling that's under 9 foot, so maybe you have an 8-foot ceiling, then you want to go ahead and order the extension. I know it might sound counterintuitive to order an extension to make it go under 9 foot, but you can use those smaller pieces and you can take out the secondary long piece. And so you can have your pole be as short or as tall up to 10 foot as you want it with that extension. So I always suggest that anybody buying the lupit pole get the carry bag and the extension, because it's going to be a lifelong pole. They come with high quality stainless steel, and they even offer some that are powder coated so that you can get them in different colors. I think that the customer service with Lupit is hands down the best. It is a small company out of Slovenia, and they are very accessible, and they are very knowledgeable, and they are willing to work with my clients. One of my clients had a pole get stuck all the way up in Costa Rica when we were there at our retreat, and Lupit right away shipped her a new pole and said that there must have been a malfunction with that one. There was no questions asked, and after selling these poles for 3 years, that is the only pole that I have ever seen have a malfunction. Also, if you have ceilings that are, say, 15 foot, Lupit can custom make you a pole for your exact space, and they are always good at getting the turnaround time and getting it to you in a timely fashion. Another thing I love about the lupit pole versus X pole is the stage. The lupit pole stage weighs a lot less than the X pole stage, and that's one thing that makes it more convenient, because usually with a stage you're traveling around with it, setting it up, and the X pole really requires several people or a buggy to set it up, whereas the lupit pole stage, I can easily set that up and carry it all by myself. As you can see, there's a lot to think about when it comes to installing a yoga pole in your space, and that's why I'm here sharing all of the tips and tricks for you so that you can safely use your yoga pole right at home. I'm always here to answer any questions. You can find me on all social media platforms under Polistic Yoga, and you can always send me a message, and I'm going to be here to answer your questions for you. I want your poling experience to be safe, and so that you can feel good about showing up to practice Polistic Yoga with me every day in your own space. Practicing at home is where it's so pivotal, because you really need Polistic Yoga every day, even if it's for a few minutes. Thanks for tuning in today, and I'll see you next time. Namaste at the pole.